to the Bamgboshe Happy Hour. I am Peju Bamgboshe Bonkelsberger.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Naomi Bamgboshe.
And today we have a special guest with us, a Lonestar Emmy Award winner, Kerry Lofton. How are you, Kerry?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good boy.
We're doing well. We're really happy to have you here. Thanks so much for being on the podcast. We always like to start off having everybody relax with a quick 1-2 punch. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So we need to know cryptocurrency or metaverse?
Oh, metaverse.
Metaverse?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Versus or hot ones?
Hot ones all the way.
Hot ones?
Yeah.
Steak or sushi?
Ooh, sushi. I'm gonna say sushi.
Sushi. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hot tub or massage?
Massage all the way.
Okay. And celebrity crush?
People are gonna probably laugh at this one, but I gotta say Martha Stewart. She has aged gracefully. So I love my wife so much, but I gotta say Martha, man. Something about Martha.
Martha, okay, all right. Yeah. I was not expecting that, but definitely a
That's
good
good. She's handled everything very well and managed to reinvent herself over and over again.
Yeah. People forget that she went to jail almost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I didn't forget. That's right. And now she's partnered with Snoop on different things. Yeah. Good for her. Yeah. I like that.
So we always like to do a toast for our special guests, celebrating all of your accomplishments. So Ma, will you please lead us in with a toast?
Okay, ready, guys?
Ready.
Long life, prosperity, health, wealth, and happiness. Salud.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. So Kerry, you are a photographer, a videographer, you're an entrepreneur, and an author.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about this book, Money Talks: confidently price your work. All right. So I felt like you were talking to me because I am a business owner. Tell us how you got started with this book.
Yeah. So, man, I never set out to be the guy that talked about money or pricing or anything like that. I still was trying to really learn it myself not too long ago. And just kind of through something I always, I knew I wanted to value myself, even though if I hadn't had kind of all the right pieces or the right info. I just knew, like, when I picked up a camera, everything I do, I wanted to value myself. And so I was always asking questions about of other people, business owners who are in my same field, like, hey, what do you charge? What should I be charging? What should I be looking at? And then just kind of gain the information that way, watching a lot of YouTube videos, researching online. And so when the pandemic hit in 2020, man, it feels like it's been so long, but
like 10 years ago, it feels like,
yeah. So I had a content creator reach out to me, and this was back when everybody was doing Instagram lives because everybody was all on the house board, just trying to figure out what to do. They reached out and they were like, hey, let's do a collab Instagram live. So I was like, cool, let's do it. And so she kind of put it on me to decide like what the topic would be. And for me, I was just like, I don't know. I just kind of tossed it out there. I was like, let's talk about money. I was like, I know a lot of creatives, they struggle with figuring out what the price. I get asked about it sometimes. Let's talk about money. Didn't really expect much of it. And then it just blew up. They didn't even have a ton of people on the live, but just by us putting the video on our pages and like letting it live there, people just started hitting me up. I started answering 3, 4, 5 DMs a week of, hey, what should I charge? What should I charge? What should I charge? I got this project coming up. How much should I charge? And so I was like, man, this is definitely blown up. And it kind of helped me too, because again, like I said, I was still kind of learning. So I was just sharing with people what had made me successful. But I didn't feel like I was necessarily an expert on the topic at that point. But by everybody reaching out to me it kind of kept me on my game of like, oh, well, that's a good question. Let's find that answer out together. And so it just kind of grew from there. And so it really kind of got to a point to where I was like, you know what? I don't mind helping people, but I am tired of writing the same DM over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So I said, I was going to set out to write like a little 10-page PDF ebook that I could just send to people when they asked. And it was just something I wasn't even going to charge for it. It was just something I didn't have to write the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. Sat down to start writing. I ended up with about 7,000 or 8,000 words. And I was like, this is going to be a little bit longer. And so I've always had the dream to write a book. I've wanted to write a book for 10 plus years. And so I got, I started some ideas and then started some ideas, because the first book was actually supposed to be like my life story and my experiences and things like that. But I was like, man, I'm so close with this, and this is such a needed subject. Let's just go all the way. So from there, I just kind of dug my feet into the ground and developed some of my ideas to make it a little bit of a longer read. And so, and that's where we are. And it's been helping so many people. I get so many people that say the same thing, and you're talking directly to me. This is exactly what I needed. So.
Oh, for sure.
Kerry, I have a question. Where did you get the title of the book, Money Talks? Is that the beginning of a very popular phrase, or did you, where'd you come up with that name, Money Talks?
So one of my favorite movies is Money Talks with Chris Tucker. I don't know if y'all seen it, but I love that movie. With Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen. But I didn't set out with that in mind. I didn't find the title until late in the game of like publishing it, because people don't even know, like, I designed the cover actually as well. And so I remember I was sitting in bed and I had another title. There's actually, I was going to post this the other day. I was going to title it, Don't Make It Weird. And then like subtitle, like How to Price Your Work, because so I used to do a lot of work for DeMarcus Ware. And I remember, and so I remember when I sat down with him, this is actually a sub chapter in the book, but I remember when we sat down and we were talking money, he could tell I was really uncomfortable with it. And he just kind of was like, hey man, he's like, don't make it weird. He's like, you need money, I need money, you have money, I have money. We're talking business here. It doesn't have to be weird. So at first I was like, I'm going to name it Don't Make It Weird. But when I was designing the cover, it just didn't roll off the tongue. It didn't captivate people. I wanted something that people could hear it and automatically know kind of, okay, this is where this is going. And so I was sitting in bed with my wife, just kind of brainstorming. And I just said, money talks, money talks, money talks. And it's like, okay, cool. Cause it's like money talks. Of course, there's a saying that like money talks when you're talking about business, but then it's also conversations about money, because I do think it's such a thing that like nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to kind of like keep it close to the vest. I don't want to tell people how much I've made. I don't want to share, for fear that I'm not charging enough or I'm charging too much. I don't want people pocket watching. And so for me, this is definitely, it was a perfect title too, because I want to start allowing people to have some transparency in that area of let's talk about it, because we're, it's not, I don't care if people know how much I made or how much I'm bringing in. I'm helping the next person get some confidence, because they could see, okay, cool. If he could charge that much, I could get to that point as well. So I just want those conversations to continue happening.
Okay.
Do you think that fear is the number one reason that people are afraid to put out their rate, their price, or even to ask for a higher salary?
I think fear mixed with a little bit of like just having that confidence as well. That's why, it confidently price your work is in the title, because I don't want people to just know what to charge. I want them to present it and be able to stand on it confidently. So that's a very important word in that subtitle, because I do think I've sat there and I've had conversations with people and they're like, I'm like, yo, in their situation, I'm like, no, they might be making $50,000, $60,000 a year, which is not a bad salary. I'm like, yo, there's people doing what you do with half as much talent or half the resume, and they're making 130, 140,000. And people have literally said, yeah, I get that, but nobody's ever going to do that for me. That's a confidence issue. You know what I mean? Because there's something there that if I'll never forget when I found out, I won't say how I found out, but I found out that there's a video production company that was charging someone $75,000 a month on retainer to do video work.
Mhm.
And there, I think confidence is the difference in saying, man, that's amazing. Wish that would happen to me, versus, man, if they could do it, I could do it. If that's the bar, there's nothing that's different from them and me to be able to put in that same situation. So that's the goal. But there's some people who can't, they look at that and they say, man, I could never get somebody to pay me $75,000 a month. That's a confidence thing. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's the fear of, I don't want to get rejected. I don't want to say a price and it's too much, and then I get rejected. But then I think it's also a confidence of like, I'm not worth that. I don't think, I don't think I should be getting it. I don't think I deserve what I'm doing is not important enough, or I'm not talented enough, and I'm not skilled enough. I haven't learned enough. I don't have this degree next to my name. So there's all these different types of things that's working against their confidence to be able to stand on what they should be charging.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because I've had
I do
so
too.
many, so many times I thought that, to myself, starting out a new business, like, oh, I want to get as many clients as I can. I don't want to try and charge, more than the next person, or as much as somebody that's been around for 10, 15, 20 years. So I get what you're saying, but you have to be confident in yourself and realize what you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
You have so many gems in this book. I'm going to quote, I am valuable, I am worthy, I deserve to profit off the skills and talents I have been blessed with. My gifts are designed to make room for me. I belong here. I have nothing to lose and nothing to prove. I really, really love that. And that's something that I've started saying at the beginning of my day and when I go to bed at night. And I really do appreciate that. So what's an example or an approach you would use for a potential client who is a little bit more frugal than the average potential client?
Yeah, it happened. And just a note about that, I have nothing to lose, nothing to prove tattooed on my arm. You probably can't see it, but that's how much I believe that. Yeah, my pastor said that one time, and it just stuck with me. Nothing to lose, nothing to prove, because it really is like, when you approach that situation, and this kind of segues into answering your question, all that fear is gone for me when I'm talking to people, because whether they say, yeah, whatever you're charging, we'll pay it, or they say, this guy's out of his mind, we're never going to pay that much for a video or photo or whatever it might be. To me, that takes nothing from me, you know what I mean? And the skills and the talents that God has given me. So I actually deal with it more than people think. I think people have the perception of, okay, he's got it figured out. He wrote this book on money, so every shot he shoots goes in, and it doesn't happen that way at all. And so for me, I can kind of start to tell the red flags of if people are going to be like a little bit more budget conscious, which is okay, because like I say in the book, like there's some people who are, unfortunately, they're cheap, and it's to a fault and their business, because they have the money to spend. They just don't see the value in spending it. Mm-hmm. And for those people, I understand that's a losing argument, basically, because that's a branch off of a rotten tree, basically, because if you don't have the mindset to say, this is worth the investment in my business, then I can't help you, because if you're a restaurant, you're probably ordering the cheap meat that's about to expire tomorrow. You're probably in a cheap, building in a bad neighborhood because you want to pay rent. There's all these different things that you're probably doing to sabotage your business because you don't see the value in investment. Those are the type of people that usually, like I said, in my initial conversations, one of the things I take a lot of time in screening clients before we even get to working together. The time to find out that this person's cheap and they're not the people that I want to work with is in the middle of working with them. I try to get, I have a conversation with people, and I try to see, and if they start saying things like, we want to keep it budget friendly, or, I literally just had a meeting last week where they were like, we hired somebody and it's not the greatest, but it's what we could afford. And I'm like, for me, again, those are thoughts where it's like, okay, cool. If you're already in this mindset that like you're trying to skimp on things, you know what I mean? So when I have people like that, usually I try to not even, I'll do one or two things. Mm-hmm. I will offer them, if their budget's not super far off. Now, if we're talking about a $10,000 commercial and they want to spend $500, there's not much that I could really do with that. But, you know, if they're still, if they still have a decent budget, you know, I always tell people, you can get something, you know, we can do something. It may not be the overall, the bigger vision, but there's still something that we can do. And then I try to work within their budget to let them know, hey, the idea is going to change, you know, maybe with the final product, still going to be a high quality final product, but it may not be, you know, instead of a 60-second video, it might be a 30-second video. Instead of shooting on 5 locations, it might be 2 locations. You know, we try to scale the idea to their budget, but then when you just have people who they're just like, nah, I just, you know, this is what I don't want to pay, then I don't really care what their budget is. I really don't want to work with that, because you're not valuing me. You're not valuing what I'm bringing to the table. Therefore, you're not going to value. That's not going to change in any part of the process. And it's probably not going to be a good working relationship at all.
So do you think it's easier or more difficult as a creative to set your rates?
I think it's harder. I think it's harder, especially as the world and technology grows, because the way that the world looks at content now, people think that it's easier than it is to create really good content. They think, oh man, I have a phone that can do really great. You know, that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing weddings. You know what I mean? Because brides will pay $10,000 for a dress and $20,000 for a venue and $5,000 for a cake. And then they want you to come and shoot from the moment they open their eyes to the minute they drive off into the sunset. And they want to give you $500. And the reason is that they don't see you as any different as their mom who's sitting on the front row with her camera. They're just like, the only thing that's stopping her from being able to do that is because they don't want her sitting there and missing the ceremony. So I do think that there's a misconception about what goes in, the time that goes into the creative process, especially when you're doing it on a higher level. You know, I have a project that I'm working on right now where I've spent, 30, 40-hour work weeks just in meetings and planning the project. You know, this is before we even have gotten to shooting and editing. You know what I'm saying? I'm spending 30, 40 hours a week just planning it. And so I do think that there's a misconception of like, hey, you're just pressing a button. You're just taking a photo. You're just recording a video. And there's so much time that goes into it that people don't see.
You know, I didn't even think about it, the point you made, because I was just always thinking of it as art. And I think that with art, you can price art, you can be very, what's the word? I don't want to say creative with art, but you have a lot of latitude.
Yeah.
When it comes to pricing art. And that's what I was thinking, but I can see definitely how it could be, more difficult. Something else that I wanted to bring up from the book, and I don't want to go too much into it because I want everyone to go out and get the book. But I thought this was like really cool when you said that when you go to a restaurant, you don't negotiate the price, like whatever. If the chicken is $25, you're going to pay $25. If the steak is $100, you're not going to go and say, oh, can I get it for 20? You can't do that. What has been your biggest regret and triumph with negotiations?
Definitely, probably my biggest regret is, there's probably not an exact situation, but it's probably been any time, I've basically sold myself short for the prospect of an opportunity, and then it really kind of hasn't lended itself to anything. And I just look at that as like a normal business loss. There's times where you come in where you're not necessarily underselling yourself, because one thing I stopped doing is letting myself do work for free on the promise that I'll get paid later. But I've definitely got in with some companies like, okay, cool, this is going to be a great working relationship. I'm going to show them a little love here. Maybe I toss in some stuff for free or for a discounted rate. And then they say, we never want to work with you again. And they go off and you basically just kind of invest, made a gamble. So those are always the situations where, because you don't want to be, I tell people, don't get it twisted. Like one of the only kind of things, and this could also be a little bit of a regret, is that people now some of my clients even know me as the guy who's always talking about money and confidently pricing yourself. So a good thing about that is that they come correct.
Right.
But then also it creates this persona where I've even had to have conversations with a few of them where they're like, well, we don't want to, we don't want to undersell you, or we don't want to. And then it becomes this thing where it's so rigid, where they're thinking that if we have him for a minute over what we booked him for, we're going to be the next subject in his next book, or we're going to be one of those bad clients. And so I tell people, I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm not like this evil CEO of some corporation that's like pay me for every second. I do a lot of, especially with small businesses and people who need the help. I've done a lot of free things where I've gifted them photo shoots or gifted them content because they need it and they're trying to build their business. It just becomes an issue when you have people who are making money. Yeah, you have people who are making money, but then they don't want to pay you for it. They want to make money off of the content you're creating for them. And so that's where it usually is. So yeah, I think it's just really just, but then also my biggest win is, I talk about it in the book, but there was a client that came and I got thrown in like literally the day before the shoot. And so I had no room or time to negotiate the rate. And it was laughable how much they paid me for the work that I did. I mean, it was just super embarrassingly low.
Okay. Oh.
And so I said, hey man, let me just do this. You know what I mean? Let me do this and let's make it happen. And now that client has, throughout the process, I was very, open and honest with them about, hey, it's not always going to be like this. I'm doing you guys a huge favor. And, I got thrown in the last minute, and like now they're one of my biggest clients that like literally they have paid me everything that I've asked for 3 projects now, and I'm on contract to do like a couple more projects with them. So it really, that me taking that one step back and just, taking that loss on that project has literally set me up. I mean, that project, they booked me for a project in February, and that project was enough for me to take 3 months off to write this book. So,
oh, wow. You know what, Kerry? It's so funny while you were talking, I was waiting. I wanted to, jump in and say to you, you only have to be right once. You only have to get the right client. Well, Jay-Z said it. I got it off one of Jay-Z's speeches off YouTube. You only have to be right once. He said,
I like that.
You can remember that. Whatever, however it goes, it may not come today, tomorrow, just when you think it is, but you only need to be right once.
I love that.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you just got to keep shooting. There's going to be some times where you win and you lose, but, you just have to adjust, learn from it and move on. So, and like you said, the situation that's going to come along to where you're like, man, this gamble is worth it. You know what I mean? I don't spend my time in casinos, but there's people who the winning makes you forget all the losing, you know what I mean? And so, it has to be worth it for you to keep coming back. So I love that. I'm gonna start incorporating that into my life.
Yeah. That's per Jay-Z.
Well, I was gonna say let's lighten up the mood, but we are kind of lightening the mood. Let's pretend that we are at a private high-end event and the venue was almost at capacity, and you can only invite one person per pair, per group. 50 Cent or Jay-Z?
50 Cent, 100%. So
okay, so you gotta tell me why.
Man, I
love 52. So
I say this all the time. It's funny that you ask this question. I tell people because people don't get how, number one, how funny he is. I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, if I had to somehow unfollow everybody on Instagram and I can only follow one person, it would be 50 Cent 10 times over. I talk about it in the book. Like, number one, his book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, is hands down one of the best books I've ever read.
I have it on Audible and haven't listened to it yet. I have it in my Audible library.
Listen, it's so good. His bit, and it's one of the things I hate is when celebrities write books and it's not in his voice. You could totally tell it's in his voice. It's very raw, real, honest. And he just has such a smart business acumen. But then also, so I had a chance to meet him in LA. I was in LA for the Super Bowl week, and I had a chance. We were sitting down at the bar.
Yeah, the Super Bowl, right?
Yep, in LA. And so we were sitting at the bar and he walks in. And I was like, I don't get starstruck. I mean, I've worked I'm very blessed to be able to say like my clientele is, you know, I interact with celebrities and athletes and stuff like that. So I've become kind of numb to it. So I never get starstruck, but I got starstruck when like 50 walked in. And so like, I kind of like made eye contact with him and he gave me like a, what's up? And so I was like, man, all right, cool. Like that was pretty awesome. And so we were sitting there and everybody was just kind of talking. And we were with this guy who was like very much like, man, like you guys need to go over there and talk to him. Like he's been drinking and he's like fired up. And I'm like, man, I'm not about to go over there and cut through all these people, because he was with a million people and everybody's at the bar. So I'm like, and he was very nice. People were coming up and taking pictures, but I'm just like, I'm not about to do that. Like, and he was like, man, you got it, like, blah, 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 blah. So long story short, after a couple, drinks, you get that courage. And so I just was like, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna talk to him. So I went over there. I said, I don't, he was with the baby, the artist, the baby. And he made a joke. He was like, hey, if you want a picture, he's like, it's $100. You got to pay me $100. And I was like, man, I said, I don't want a picture. I said, I just wanted to shake your hand. I said, look you in your eye, tell you that your book changed my life. I said, I would not be doing what I'm doing in business if it wasn't for your book. And so his response was like, oh man, I appreciate that. He was like, what kind of business do you have? And so this kind of sparked like a 3-minute conversation where he was very into it. I mean, he let everything else around us melt away. And he's like, oh man, like, so you're in town for the Super Bowl? Are you shooting? What are you doing? Like very, very into it. And so I just thought that, I just had so much respect in the world for him, even outside, like I said, being a big fan. So sorry, that was a really long answer to your question.
No, that was good.
But,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like 50 a lot because, he's bounced back and forth. And, I've heard so many stories about him helping people, and I also like it because he keeps stuff started, but it's all in good fun. And he's all about the business. And I just like it. Plus, he reminds me of a childhood boyfriend. So I just really like 50 so much. No, it's true. It's true. And the person, and he died young. He died in his 20s, and so 50 just reminds me so much of him. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, you will love him 10 times more after you read the book. I promise you.
Yeah. I'm going to listen to it. Yeah. Okay, good.
So how about Luka Doncic or Dak Prescott?
Dak's my guy. I gotta go with Dak. Yeah, I'm a football guy. I gotta go with Dak.
Okay. I don't even need to ask why. Okay. Idris Elba or The Rock?
Oh, The Rock. I'm gonna have to go with The Rock.
I'm gonna ask why for The Rock.
He just seems chill. I like Idris Elba too. I watched this like complex thing where he was doing shopping for sneakers. He seems really cool, but like The Rock, I don't know, The Rock, I just think like he probably wins in that area. He just seems super chill. And he's another guy that I think has like really, really smart business mind. So I think it'd be cool to just be around him and rub off. And I grew up a huge wrestling fan. So yeah.
All righty.
Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks. Yeah, like I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And finally, Jerry Jones or Tony Romo?
Ooh, Tony Romo.
Yeah. Did I ask why or?
I don't know. I just don't think like, I feel like Jerry's so far. Like, I just feel like there's nothing that, like, I just feel like when he's in that world where it's just like, man, like I don't know, maybe we might have fun. You know what I mean? I don't know. They were great to us when I worked for the company, but I don't know. I just don't know how much we would have to talk about or in common or whatever like that. So, Tony Romo probably. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Tony Romo, I know everybody loves his broadcast, but he talked too much for me when he's doing the games. Like, so that I might have to just be by myself on that one.
I hear you. Neither, right?
Yeah.
Option is neither. Yeah. There you go.
So getting back to all of your talents, which one do you enjoy doing more professionally? Photography or videography?
Definitely photography. Photography. You said how did I get started?
Yeah.
It's so basically it's a kind of a long story. I'll try to make it short. But when I was in high school, I did music, and like I played instruments. I played the trumpet, and I rapped. And so I was like, oh man, I like that. I want to do that. I want to open a studio and all this stuff. And then I kind of realized, like, man, that's not really a career that I'm really trying to pursue. And so, was trying to get to college and things like that. And I always had really good grades. And so I pretty much had my pick of colleges I could go to. And I remember they came in for like a high school career day. Xavier, I went to Xavier for 2 years. I actually dropped out, but I went to Xavier for 2 years. But I originally was going to go for pharmacy school. They came in and they were like selling it. They were like, you guys, how would you like to be a doctor in 6 years and make 100,000 and all this stuff? And they told you all the good stuff about it. So I was like, sign me up, like whatever. And I get there and I was like, I'm not about to take these 3-hour labs and all of these, like, and it was really competitive. And it was just something that I knew I could put my head to it and do it, but I just didn't want to do it. And so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and ended up doing computer science as my major. But I wasn't really like crazy about that, and then ended up dropping out. And so I was kind of still in the music scene a little bit. And I had some friends who were doing music, and I didn't want to be just hanging around as like a studio groupie. So one day I was like, hey guys, it's like, I kind of want to pick up a camera and start like messing around with like footage and videos and stuff like that. I was like, would you guys like mind if I shot some like music videos for y'all? And they were like, yeah, like let's do it. And so I like bought a camera on Craigslist, and I was working at the Apple store at the time with some like really talented photographers and videographers. So I was like asking them a bunch of questions and things like that. And like the way New Orleans is, because I'm from New Orleans, so I was in New Orleans. Yeah. And so the way New Orleans is very small. So like I just knew all the right people. And like before you know it, like this guy who's like my mentor, Nesby Phipps, he called and was like, hey, like Cash Money and Lil Wayne, they're doing a turkey giveaway. You want to come get some footage? Wow. And so like literally I just picked up a camera like a month ago, and I'm standing like 5 feet away from Lil Wayne shooting all this stuff. And so like there was this moment where I was just like, yo, like if this is what I could be doing and I don't even know how to fully work this camera yet, like I could probably do something really, really great with this. And it's been, 11 something years now. And I've been doing it, pretty much the entire time. So the rest is really kind of history.
Awesome. Okay. And so can you tell us what your favorite project has been?
Oh, I feel like it changes like by the month. It really does. Because every time I do one, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely my favorite. And then I do another one and I'm like, oh man, like this is definitely my favorite. So probably I just wrapped the project with AT&T. We did some stuff in Chicago. And so I felt like the footage was really, really beautiful. And so it wasn't any like groundbreaking stuff, like as far as like they were promoting like their employee clothing line. So it's not anything where it's like super crazy, but I thought the footage looked really great. So right now that's my current favorite. But I don't know, the project I'm working on and I'm editing right now might end up beating that one out. So
yeah. So it changes. Yeah.
Yep. So
do you ever feel like it's a competition among creatives? When you're, I guess if you're competing for jobs, do you ever feel any type of competition, or is it healthy? What are your thoughts?
I do feel like it's a competition. I unfortunately feel like, but I feel like it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? There's a post that's like circulating social media right now talking about, it's a long like handwritten post where somebody's basically saying like, creatives aren't athletes. We aren't competing to be the best. We're just competing to create content that resonates with our audience. And that should be our goal every time that we are stepping out to create. So I think everybody has different skills, talents. They look at the world different. So therefore, they're going to create content that hits into the world different. And I don't think everybody's right for every project. I can't look at something that's a really cool thing and say, oh man, I should have did that. They should have called me for that, because it could have been a totally different outcome based off of the way that I see the world. And that vision translates into imagery. And so unfortunately, I think as people are trying to scramble and they look at my life on social media, they look at other people's life on social media, and they're like, oh, he worked with this person. Oh, he got to go here and do this with this company. And they want that for themselves, especially if they're in a position to where they may not be booking jobs. But people got to realize, like, man, we all have a plate that's in front of us, and we got to focus on what's on our plate as opposed to looking over at other people. So sadly, I do see a lot of that competing with other people when really we should be lifting each other up. I pass a lot of work off. I send a lot of, I get called, and usually if I'm not working with anybody or if I don't feel like I'm a right fit for the project, I will say, hey, but I know this guy or I know this girl, you should reach out to him. And that to me, that to me doesn't take any, I wasn't gonna work with those people anyway. So it's not taking food off of my plate. It's not hurting me. And so it's about building the community up. But I see a lot of people, unfortunately, that they're just like the chipmunk stuffing things in their mouth. And it's like, I'm going to try to get every project that I can. I'm going to try to do everything that I can because I'm trying to store it up for a rainy day. I'm trying to build my clientele. I'm trying to build my brand and my name. And sometimes it feels counterintuitive, but you putting somebody else on can do more for building your brand and helping you than trying to store it all up. And then you get this kind of mindset of like, it's all about me. And then you don't have any connections. You're an island,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you are a Lonestar Emmy Award winner. Can you tell us what that's all about? And I know you just felt so much pride when you won. For the people who aren't from Texas, can you tell them what it is?
Yeah, so Lonestar Emmy is it's an actual Emmy, just like the Emmy that that you watch on TV, whenever they play it. But it's they do regional Emmys as well. So there's region for like Texas is Lonestar, so it's everything in Texas. There's like ones for the West Coast, North, like every state has ones that you could submit content to. And it's recognized just like the national Emmys, but it's just in a smaller market. And so I was blessed to be able to win two. I won one as for a special project that I did with the Cowboys to promote the playoffs. We did this narrative commercial piece with Errol Spence. And so we won one for that one year. And then I won one overall as an editor the next year. So yeah, it's a
You won two.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Double congratulations.
Thank you so much. So yeah, it's something that you can kind of see him right there in the background. So
I do.
It's very something I'm very thankful for, very proud of, to be able to just have that attached to my name for the rest of my career. And so very, very, very amazing experience. Really hard to like put into words, just thinking about like accepting it and having it and holding it and all those different things. So it's awesome.
Okay. Well, who are two, well, actually not two, your top three celebrities that you would like to work with?
Number one on my list is Ryan Coogler. So he's
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. He also did like Fruitvale Station, all those different things. And so he is really man, I mean, just the talent that man has and just his vision and he's so mysterious because he like doesn't have social media. He rarely does interviews. He's not in the forefront like like some other directors. And so I would really love to one day work with him. Even, I mean, look, I'll go grab that man's coffee. You know what I mean? Just to kind of sit at his feet and learn. That's something that's at the top. Outside of him, definitely LeBron James. I love LeBron. I'm not a like a huge basketball fan, but I just love the things that he's doing like off the court with like Uninterrupted and all those different things. And I don't know if y'all seen the movie Hustle on Netflix yet with Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, you saw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So love that. And then one of the things I really want to do is, so I want to direct. So me being from New Orleans, like I grew up on Cash Money. And so I just love I saw the NWA movie that was I love that. I love the way that they did that. And so I really want to direct a movie that tells the story of Cash Money Records and coming up in New Orleans in the 90s and early 2000s. So
Okay. I think that'll
that's
be
on
fun.
my list. Yes, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I gotta somebody gotta connect me and plug me with Birdman to make that happen. But man, I
Never know.
love the way that they told that NWA. F. Gary Gray did an amazing job, because sometimes those movies, they don't do a good job. I think I might get some hate for this, but I definitely think they botched Notorious, and I definitely think the Tupac movie, they keep trying to do it.
I
And
didn't
it's
see
just,
that one. I didn't see Tupac. I saw Notorious. Notorious was okay. It wasn't great, but Tupac,
yeah.
it didn't even look good enough.
Yeah. It went viral on social because there was a lot of I think people were talking about like Tupac had an iPhone in there and stuff like that. So it was I think it's so much pressure when you're telling these iconic stories. So when I saw NWA and I saw the way that F. Gary Gray did NWA, I just was blown away. And so it's been my dream to be able to tell Cash Money because that was an integral part of like me growing up in my childhood, and those guys were like the Beatles to me. You know what I mean? So I would love to tell that story and put that into the world. So
Okay.
Well, put that out into the universe, and
That's right. That's it.
So what's something that you do for fun that nobody else thinks is fun?
I'm starting to get into golf. I'm starting to get into golf. Not just like top golf, but like actually hitting the course and being out there. I'm terrible at it, so bad at it, but it's nice. I mean, but a lot of people, what I always tell people is they're like, man, that sounds boring. But I'm like, it's more about the people that you're out there with. You get a good group of people. You're hanging out, you play a little music, you get you a drink and a cigar, and it's a really nice time. And it's so quiet and peaceful out there. You can be away from your phone. And so I always tell people, you got to give it a try. You actually got to be out there. You got to not just think about hitting balls and driving to the next hole and all that stuff, because it could be mundane. But yeah, so really, I like that. And then reading, I love going to like the bookstores, and I love reading. I love a good book. So like I will literally go and spend, a couple hours in the bookstore just walking around browsing. So
okay. All right. And what's the last big item purchase you made?
What's the range? Because my wife gets on me all the time because I like to spend a lot of money sometimes. So
they could be you want me to give you a numerical range or
you're like in the thousands, in the thousands.
Yeah.
I just booked a vacation a few days ago, so that was
not a cruise, right? Because I heard that you don't like cruises too much.
Not a cruise, not a cruise. I will never ever go on a cruise. I'm not a cruise now. Me and my wife are going to Cabo next week, so probably that. I bought a watch yesterday, a nice gold watch yesterday, so.
Okay.
So that might be into it as well. But yeah, I spent a lot of money on sneakers. Not all at like one, but like that definitely runs up as well monthly over of multiple pairs. So
yeah. I meant to ask about the sneakers, but I don't know much about sneakers because I'm not a sneaker person. But I did notice like on Instagram that you love your sneakers.
Yeah, I never like post like my full closet, but I have like a shelf with and they're all over the place. It's an expensive hobby, but I love it though. I mean, they say when you meet people, the first thing they look at is the shoes. And it for some reason that's like psychologically like what we do. So, I enjoy it.
Okay. But so tell us what you're watching on TV right now.
I'm kind of in a show hole right now. Well, Raising Kanan just came back, which is
yes, indeed.
So I need to check that out. I know the new season of Atlanta is coming out as well on FX. I didn't watch the third season. I think the fourth season is the fourth and final season. I didn't watch the third season because I got like 2 or 3 episodes in, and it was just weird, like the way that they were doing it. Yeah, it was very different. So I'm waiting on that to come back. But yeah, I got to catch up on Raising Kanan, and I've been doing like a lot of like documentaries, or like mini series. Like I really love like the mini series that like HBO Max is doing. So I'll watch those because it's like you got 5 episodes, then you're done. It's like longer than a movie, more commitment than a movie, but like not as much of a commitment as like seasons of a show.
And would you ever do a reality show? And if so, what would it be about, and what would the name of the show be?
Oh, that's a really good question. I probably would do it. I would do like a reality show, and I don't know what I would call it, but I would probably do something where I could have like young creatives pitch an idea, and almost kind of do it like Shark Tank. And basically they pitch an idea, and whoever wins at the end of however many weeks it is, I would basically work with them to help bring the idea to life. So that would probably I don't know. I don't know what I'd call it.
Yeah, that's creative.
That's really creative. I like that.
Yeah, that's real good.
We might have to, VH1 might have to cut a check for that. So
yeah. Who or what has been your biggest inspiration?
Besides, like, not to be cliche, like definitely God. I think, just being thankful of the gifts that he's given me and the positions that he's put me in. I don't take it for granted, because I look around and I'm like, I couldn't plan this. You know what I mean? I couldn't plan this. I couldn't work hard enough to put myself into some of these positions. So that's a big part of like the whole nothing to lose, nothing to prove kind of mindset, is that because something that I also have tattooed on me is audience of one. And what that means is that I approach everything with confidence, that I'm not trying to win the approval of people. I'm already approved by God. And so for me, that's very big for me, is just walking around, with that mindset. So I don't know if I can necessarily say I'm inspired by God, but that like definitely drives me in everything that I do.
Okay, I like that. And were you a Cowboys fan before you started working for them? And are you one now that you are in business for yourself?
No, absolutely not. I was not a Cowboy. I was an Eagles fan. Huge fan. Wow. Huge, gigantic Eagles fan.
So funny.
Wow. Yeah, and what's crazy is, so I started working for them in 2018, which is the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So I watched the Eagles win in February of 2018, literally cried because I was so happy. And then 2 months later, I was working for the Cowboys, decked out in navy blue and wearing the star and all that stuff. So, So, and then when I left, I had definitely become somewhat of a fan of the team, mostly because of like relationships I had built, and you're around the team, you start to care for the guys and everything, and you want to win. It helps your job, it helps you do your job, but then you want to win. You want to be a part of winning. So definitely kind of became a fan in that aspect. And then when I left, it was just really hard to jump back into real super fandom like I was before I started working there, just because I feel like I had peeled the curtain back and it kind of had lost some of its, mystique. And it was just kind of, I don't know. It just, for some reason, it just felt weird. So like, I would still like cheer for the guys that I knew and the relationships that I built. And then now that I'm like working for other teams, like I know like other guys on other teams and things like that. So, so now when I sit down on a Sunday, I just pull up Red Zone and I'm just cheering for them and my fantasy team and, whatever. And I still have a lot of friends that work with the organization. So when they win, I'm happy and, want to see them do well and go far. But I don't know. I'm kind of rounding that corner. I have been paying a little bit more attention to the Eagles this offseason and feeling like I kind of want to get back in. And I work with a couple of guys on the Eagles team. So, of course, that's kind of like got me. What'd you say?
It's almost time to get in the mood, right?
Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
So, I mean, I was going to ask you because I didn't know that you weren't a Cowboys fan because we're not Cowboy fans. Don't tell Kyle. I was going
Who's
to
y'all
ask
seeing?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
can see
know,
that.
Ma, is that your team or the Steelers?
Well, I don't really have a team. I just go for the local team. Since I'm from New York, New Jersey area, I just go for the team in my area, which unfortunately has been like Giants. And,
Yeah. At that point, you just get to pick again. Sorry, like you just pick somebody. You just close your eyes and pick. So.
And of course, I love oh my God, Steelers. You Steelers, Mike Tomlin. So of course I love the Steelers. So
Yeah. You got Buffalo too. You could slide Buffalo. Now's a good time to jump on their bandwagon a little bit.
No, I like Mike Tomlin. No, wherever he goes, I'm gonna ride with Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
So, I don't mind.
If they can figure out a quarterback situation, they'll be pretty decent. I mean, what that man's been able to do with first of all, us seeing the way that like Antonio Brown has like worked out and like Le'Veon Bell, and for him to be able to navigate those two egos on that team, and then also just, I mean, they made the playoffs last year, right?
They did. They snuck their way into it. It was funny. Like they had to wait like the last possible minute to find out. And that was good for Big Ben. He got
to because he's gone, right? He did finally retire, right?
Yeah, they had Mitch Trubisky or whatever his name is. He's up there. Oh,
yeah. He might be I could see them trading. I think there's some teams that are like quarterback rich right now. Like I think like I look at the Panthers. How they have Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. One of those guys is going to win the job. So I could totally see the Steelers, if Mitch doesn't work out, making a mid-season or an early season trade to get the right. I mean, because they might be. I mean, they could slide into the playoffs like they did. Mike Tomlin's one of those guys where you're always going to have a chance with him. You know what I mean? So so if you give him the right pieces, they could definitely be dangerous. So.
And they also have Jimmy G. Not that he's great, but right, Jimmy G. I don't think he has a team now, right? Am I not? I think
he's still with the 49ers. I know they're talking about trying to trade him though, because they're I think people just trying to figure out what to do with his salary. So because he got paid real well for not a whole lot of doing so. So I think that's the biggest thing. So that could also be a thing because they've committed to Trey Lance. So they're just trying to find. So I think once people go out there and lose 3 or 4 games and realize like we got to right this ship, and they get a little bit more desperate, then Jimmy G start looking real good for whatever they asking for him. So
Ma, do you have any questions that you want to ask Kerry before he tells us?
No, not really. I was thinking I always ask the same question, and my daughter tells me don't ask. and so because she always tells me not to ask, I'm gonna ask. Okay, here's the question. If for some reason you invited me to your home, what would I see? How would you entertain? And what would be the thing that you would be the proudest of? What would be the thing that you would be most excited about, to show me as your guest?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're gonna see a spotless house. My wife is very much from top to bottom.
Like you, daughter, like you. Very meticulous with everything.
Yeah. So, and I love her for it because I'm admittedly not the cleanest, most organized person. So she keeps me. That's one of the things I love. Like whenever I go out of town, I come back home and the house is just spotless, and she's very thoughtful about it. So you definitely notice how clean and nice it is. But
lovely. I love that.
Yeah, we love entertaining. We love having people over. We love cooking for people. We're big, especially as being from New Orleans. Like we love cooking and food and yeah. So we would definitely do that. And like one of the things, like it's not a physical thing that we show off, but a lot of people come and they feel we've worked really hard on creating a peaceful atmosphere, not just for us, but for the people that come in. So like people, it's not unusual that people will come in and fall asleep on our couch, or they come and they want to stay. Like
that sounds like me anyway. Yeah.
yeah, for real. Like give you a good meal and let you get you a nap on the couch. And so
that's so sweet. Oh,
yeah.
that's
Our
nice.
mom would love that.
You telling me that's super thoughtful. Okay. All righty.
So yeah, we just are
I
very
love
proud
that.
of the very peaceful atmosphere we've been able to create for ourselves, but then also people that come in. So yeah, you come in, get you a good food, get you a nap, we'll take care of you, you know, and get you some peace, you know.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
That was really thoughtful. Okay. Well, that was my question.
Great question. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yes, that's her favorite question, but thanks for that question, Mom. Kerry, it was really great having you. Tell us what's next and where everybody can purchase. Can you see?
Yeah, there we go.
And yeah, tell us what's next and all your social media and where to purchase this book.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can purchase the book on my website, kerrylofton.com. It's also available on Amazon. If you just search Money Talks Kerry Lofton and get an Amazon Prime to you within the next day. But you can buy it from my website if you want a signed copy or anything like that. All my socials is just Kerry Lofton on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the two that I use the most. Yeah, as far as what's next for me, I'm working on a really big project with NASCAR right now, just doing creative direction for their playoffs. So that's very, very exciting. A lot going on behind the scenes with that. And then just me moving further into like this author space and helping. I'm working on a podcast called Money Talks, where I can start having more in-depth conversations about these things. Also, I've been wanting to launch it, just trying to find the right time, but it's about to happen soon. Consultations. So allowing people to be able to book me for consultations. So if they have more questions that maybe something that wasn't covered in the book, or if it's something specific, whether it's like they want to sit down and work on their resume, or they're preparing for an interview, or they're putting together a proposal. I literally, a buddy of mine, I posted about it. He posted about it, but he booked the biggest project he's ever booked in his career. And I basically, he booked like an early consultation session, and I sat down and I walked him through his budget on what he should be charging this client. And so he was able to think about those things, send it to the client, have it accepted. And I mean, it was a really, really big budget. And so those are the types of things that I'm going to basically be allowed people to book, 30, 45 minutes, an hour of my time, sit down, ask me questions one-on-one, because I'm very open. I try to get to everybody's DMs. I try to respond to everything as much as I can, but it takes time. I wish I could give it all away for free. But it does take so much of my time, and I have so much going on. So this is a way for I can allow people to just further invest in themselves and their career and what they're working on. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, but very, very big. Yeah, very, very a lot going on the next 3-4 months. Just working on finishing the year strong, and then and then about to start working on the second book too. Already got the idea and some title working, so we're about to start writing the writing process for that as well.
Okay, well, I look forward to that, and we'll buy that whenever that comes out.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're awesome, and I'm just want to say congratulations to you, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it, and everybody, stay safe, and we'll be talking to you soon.
And we will watch your star continue to rise. Okay.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. This was so awesome. I appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.